Hello everyone and welcome back to the Story Nook. Today we are going to be reading more of The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum with pictures by W.W. Dinslow. And before any of you ask in the comment section, yes, I am still waiting on this package delivery. It is December 6th. And I'm kind of tempted just to turn on Discord and let people in my personal Discord listen to me read for a good minute, because that's all I'm gonna do. But welcome in. I hope you all greatly enjoy what I'm about to read for you today. Today we are going to be reading chapter 6, because I just read chapter 5, which is The Cowardly Lion, which is probably one of my favorites, because I greatly enjoy The Cowardly Lion. It makes me very happy. The Cowardly Lion, honestly, is one of my favorite characters in The Wizard of Oz. It is just a song I remember greatly. And now I'm just I'm trying to remember what the song was called. But who knows? I think I found it. I added it to the queue of my playlist right now. But let's all jump in. Once again, love these artworks. I love this kind of I was told what it was called, illuminated manuscripts or whatever, when you include the letter and the artwork. And I love this. I like this style. You don't see it a lot because a lot of things are made for ebook printing, but I prefer this. And it's actually how I formatted a lot of my books before I just went to ebook printing. I do want to do a physical book, which is cute, fluffy, gay shit. Keep an eye out on that. That will be... I have it's a collection of short stories that is legit just cute, fluffy, gay shit, which is going to be slice of life romances with LGBT couples. I've got the first couple of chapters written, and I'm hoping you'll all enjoy them. And I might release... I definitely want the physical one to be all of them together, but I'll probably release the short stories as I go as ebooks for $1, because I only make 20 cents off of that. But yeah, that's good stuff. Alright. All this time, Dorothy and her companions had been walking through the thick woods. The road was still paved with yellow brick, but these were much covered by dry branches and dried leaves from trees, and the walking was not at all good. There were few birds in this part of the forest, for birds love the open country where there is plenty of sunshine, but now and then there came a deep growl from some wild animal hidden amongst the trees. Grrr. These sounds made the little girl's heart beat fast, for she did not know what made them, but Toto knew, and he walked close to Dorothy's side, and did not even bark in return. "How long will it be," the child asked the Tin Woodman, "before we are out of the forest?" "I cannot tell," was the answer, "for I have never been to the Emerald City, but my father went there once, when I was a boy, and he said it was a long journey, through a dangerous country. Although nearer to the city where Oz dwells, the country is beautiful. But I am not afraid so long as I have my oil can, and nothing can hurt the Scarecrow, while you bear upon your forehead the mark of the Good Witch's kiss. and that will protect you from harm." But Toto, said the girl anxiously. "What will protect him?" "We must protect him ourselves if he is in danger," replied the Tin Woodman. So he spoke there. Just as he spoke, there came from the forest a terrible roar. And the next moment, a great lion bounded onto the road. With one plow of his paw, he sent the Scarecrow spinning over and over to the edge of the road. And then he struck at the Tin Woodman with his sharp claws. But to the lion's surprise, he could make no impression on the tin, although the woodman fell over in the road and lay still. Little Toto, now that he had an enemy to face, ran barking towards the lion. And the great beast had opened his mouth to bite the dog, but when Dorothy, fearing Toto would be killed and heedless of danger, rushed forward and slapped the lion upon his nose as hard as she could while she cried out, "Don't you dare bite Toto! You ought to be ashamed of yourself, a big beast like you, to bite a poor little dog!" "I didn't bite him," said the lion as he rubbed his nose with his paw where Dorothy had hit it. "No, but you tried to," she retorted. "You are nothing but a big coward." "I know it," said the lion, hanging his head in shame. "I've always known it, but how can I help it?" "I don't know. I'm sure to think you're striking a stuffed man like the poor Scarecrow." "Is he stuffed?" asked the lion in surprise as he watched her pick up the Scarecrow and set him upon his feet while she patted him into shape again. "Of course he's stuffed," replied Dorothy, who was still angry. That's why he went over so easily," remarked the lion. "It astonished me to see him whirl around so. Is the other one stuffed also?" "No," said Dorothy. "He's made of tin." She helped the woodman up again. "That's why he nearly blunted my claws," said the lion. "When they scratched against the tin, it made a cold shiver run down my back. What is that little animal you are so tender of?" "He's my dog Toto," answered Dorothy. "Is he made of tin or stuffed?" asked the lion. "Neither. He's a meat dog," said the girl. "Oh, he's a curious animal, and seems remarkably small, now that I look at him. No one would think of biting such a little thing except a coward like me," continued the lion sadly. "What makes you a coward?" asked Dorothy, looking at the great beast in wonder, for he was as big as a small horse. "It's a mystery," replied the lion. "I suppose I was born that way. All the other animals in the forest naturally expected me to be brave, for the lion is everywhere, thought to be the king of beasts." I will finish this, but first, pretty picture. Hold on, fit. So this is our image. We've got yellow, orange to make the lion, Dorothy's hair, and her basket, and Toto stand out. Then you've got the Scarecrow over here has been tipped over. He's just like, "Hey, why don't you shake my hand?" And he just looks like a toy you just plopped over, and like his little hat is over there. Checking outside again for any delivery people. There is none. But it is slowly getting darker, and my house is getting colder. I live in a trailer, and my house is gonna get so cold. Like, legit. If we didn't turn on the 2 heaters, the one in the living room and the bathroom, like, I'm pretty sure my house is in the high 40s right now, the low 50s. Like, it's nippy. Alright, going back to automatic zoom. I learned that if I roared very loudly, every living thing was frightened and got out of my way. Whenever I met a man, I've been awfully scared. But I just roared at him, and he has always run away as fast as he could go. If the elephants and tigers and the bears had ever tried to fight me, I should have run myself. I'm such a coward. But just as soon as they hear me roar, they all try to get away from me. And of course, I let them go. But that isn't right. The king of beasts shouldn't be a coward, said the Scarecrow. I know it, returned the lion, wiping a tear from his eye with the tip of his tail. It is my great sorrow. It makes my life very unhappy. But whenever there is danger, my heart begins to beat fast. Perhaps you have a heart disease, said the Tin Man. It may be, said the lion. If you have, continued the Tin Woodman, you ought to be glad, for it proves you have a heart. For my part, I have no heart, so I cannot have heart disease. Perhaps, said the lion thoughtfully, if I had no heart, I should not be a coward. Have you brains? Asked the Scarecrow. I suppose so. I've never looked to see, replied the lion. I'm going to the Great Oz to ask him to give me some, remarked the Scarecrow, for my head is stuffed with straw. And I'm going to ask him to give me a heart, said the Woodman. And I'm going to ask him to send Toto and me back to Kansas, added Dorothy. Do you think the Oz could give me courage? Asked the Cowardly Lion. Just as easily as he could give me brains, said the Scarecrow. Or give me a heart, said the Tin Woodman. Oh, send me back to Kansas, said Dorothy. Then, if you don't mind, I'll go with you, said the lion, for my life is simply unbearable without a bit of courage. You will be very welcome, answered Dorothy, for you will help to keep away the other wild beasts. It seems to me that they must be more cowardly than you are if they allow you to scare them so easily. If they really are, said the lion, but that doesn't make me any braver. And as long as I know myself to be a coward, I shall be unhappy. So once more the little company set off upon the journey, the lion walking with stately strides at Dorothy's side. Toto did not approve this new comrade at first, for he could not forget how nearly he had been crushed between the lion's great jaws. But after a time he became more at ease, and presently Toto and the Cowardly Lion had grown to be good friends. During the rest of that day there was no other adventure to mar the peace of their journey. Once, indeed, the Tin Woodman stepped upon a beetle that was crawling along the road and killed the poor little thing. This made the Tin Woodman very unhappy, for he was always careful not to hurt any living creature, and as he walked along he wept several tears of sorrow and regret. These tears slowly ran down his face and over the hinges of his jaw, and there they rested. When Dorothy presently asked him a question, the Tin Woodman could not open his mouth, for his jaws were tightly rested together. He became greatly frightened at this, and made many motions to Dorothy to relieve him, but she could not understand. The lion was also puzzled to know what was wrong, but the Scarecrow seized the oil can from Dorothy's basket, and oiled the Woodman's jaws, so that after a few moments he could talk as well as before. This will serve me a lesson, he said, to look where I step, for if I should kill another bug or beetle, I should surely cry again, and crying rust my jaws so that I cannot speak. Therefore he walked very carefully, with his eyes on the road, and when he saw a tiny ant toiling by, he would step over it, so as not to harm it. The Tin Woodman knew very well he had no heart, and therefore took great care never to be cruel or unkind to anything. You people with hearts, he said, have something to guide you, and need never do wrong. But I have no heart, and so I must be very careful. When Oz gives me a heart, of course, I needn't mind so much. And then we have this image of the lion crying and taking his tears with his tail. And this is chapter 7. So this was chapter 6, The Cowardly Lion. Thank you all so much for being here. You're all amazing and great and awesome. And I'm very happy you all made it. as we slowly make our way through this book. So thank you all for being here. You're all awesome. You're all amazing. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Remember to stay hydrated. I'm once again checking outside. There is still no package. It is 5:21. Still no package. All right. Have a lovely day. I will be back with more Wizard of Oz. But before we leave completely, I'm gonna serenade you with a verse. I were king of the forest, not prince, not prince. We will rise the forest. That's all you're getting. But I am going to read this and listen to the song several times. The first your phone.